Titanfall 3 is an upcoming first-person shooter video game. The project is being developed by Respawn Entertainment and published by EA. The last entry in the franchise, Titanfall 2, was released back in 2016, and since then, Respawn has been busy with the development of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and Apex Legends. But rumors and news have started to circulate about the return of Titanfall, so let's break down all the rumors, leaks, and some of the original cancelled plans. As always, all the sources will be linked in the description below, so make sure to check those out and support those original writers. And with that out of the way, let's get into everything we know about Titanfall 3. Okay, so let's start with the original plans for Titanfall 3, and when the team considered adding a Battle Royale mode to the project, it eventually became the focus of what the team wanted to work on, and through development that became and morphed into Apex Legends. So the rumors of Respawn working on the original Titanfall 3 came from Jason Schreier at Kotaku. He states back in 2017, a source reached out to him at Respawn and stated that Titanfall 3 was well into development and the studio wanted to release it by the end of 2018. The source stated the game and technology had already started to feel dated, and the team was worried about holding off the release any longer, and that 2018 was as long as they wanted to wait while the game could still look good and feel fresh enough. And Jason Schreier had speculated it's possible that there are two likelihoods with this scenario. One is that Apex Legends is not Titanfall 3 and instead was developed quickly so it could be a buffer and give the team more time to develop Titanfall 3. And the other idea is that Titanfall 3 ended up turning into Apex Legends, which we now know it seems like the second situation is more likely, and that's really what happened with this original Titanfall that was in development around 2017. Now we get a few more details after the release of Apex Legends about this original development process. The team did multiple interviews, and they stated that right after the release of Titanfall 2, the team had begun experimenting with different game modes. And Drew McCoy, the executive producer for the games, said that he knew they had something special with this Battle Royale game mode, and that it shouldn't just be a mode in Titanfall 3, and instead is now its own genre and its own game. So they decided to offshoot it from this project, going from a Titanfall 3 multiplayer mode to Apex Legends. And that's also when the team decided to experiment with an emphasis on characters rather than mechs. Now there's a lot more information we could go over. They say at one point they were adding in mechs to Apex Legends and had these different game modes where you'd get batteries for the mechs and on. But for the most part, that's when it starts to transition into Apex and away from Titanfall 3. But all you really need to know is that the team was working on Titanfall 3. Schreier's rumors stated that it was further in development, while the team still states it was super early, and then sometime in 2017 or 2018, that's when it shifted to Apex. Now, even more recently, a map was added to Apex Legends that was originally a Titanfall 3 concept. The game director, Chad Grenier, told Eurogamer that Olympus wasn't called Olympus at the time, but that style of map was something that they were exploring for the next Titanfall game. Now, in terms of how much Titanfall 3 was brought into Apex, he said, quote, "We really didn't bring any of that old layout over. It was more of just an art style of that clean, futuristic city kind of look, the floating city in the air concept, but the map is completely redesigned. The original concept was for a single player level, and so it was designed very differently, but you know, a lot of that architectural style and the color palette and the concept of this floating city did carry over." So for the most part, it sounds like they had some map designs and it might be in the middle. Maybe they weren't as far along as Schreier's sources stated with the development of Titanfall 3, but they also weren't at the very early stages, considering they at least had some maps done at that time and now are reusing some of those assets. So I think it's further along than what Respawn said, not as far as long as some of the leaks, and it's kind of in a middle area, and that's where this original Titanfall was before it was seemingly scrapped. Now, the next story we have to quickly touch on that's going to directly affect the future of Titanfall is the acquisition of Respawn Entertainment by EA. And this is a new development that happened after the release of Titanfall 2. So in November of 2017, it was announced that Respawn Entertainment was being acquired by EA, who aren't the most loved publisher in the gaming industry, to put it lightly. So yes, I will acknowledge at this time Titanfall already did have microtransactions, but they are only cosmetic and players are actually able to purchase the exact skins they want without loot boxes and other seemingly predatory ways to monetize your game. And a lot of fans are worried that we could see EA change this process to potentially more unfavorable microtransaction options for the players moving forward. EA has already stated that Titanfall 2 did fall short of their expectations, which seemingly would only give them more reason to add more microtransactions to offset the cost of development, and that way they could still make their money even if the game didn't sell as highly as they wanted. Now, these microtransactions and future of how it could impact Titanfall 3 are not confirmed, but if we look at EA's history, and especially their history of multiplayer games, it definitely gives us an idea of what we could expect. It is also though worth noting that EA doesn't require any microtransactions in Respawn's other title, Jedi Fallen Order, so we'll just have to wait and see, but I'm not holding my breath for really good microtransactions from EA. Okay, so now let's talk about the development leaks and what Respawn's public comments have been on the issue regarding Titanfall 3. So Apex Legends was just released back in February of 2019, and the team has still been busy updating the game and adding new seasons. In May of 2020, the co-founder of Respawn Entertainment was interviewed by IGN, and when asked about the future of Titanfall, he said, "There's nothing currently in development, but it's always there. You see little bits of stuff coming back through the lore in Apex Legends. At some point, I would personally like to see some kind of resurrection there. We'll see if I can make it happen." A more interesting note regarding EA and fans' concerns, he also was asked about that relationship, and he said Respawn's relationship with EA is, quote, "mostly hands-off but in a collaborative way. We talk a lot, they're not prescriptive in how we get things done. It's a good balance of collaboration so that we have knowledge about what's happening and not trying to be prescriptive in how or what we do." And for the most part, most fans took this statement at face value. The team just had an amazing 2019 with Jedi Fallen Order and Apex Legends. We know they are continuing the development of Apex, at least up to the point of this recording, and also rumors have pointed to a sequel to Jedi Fallen Order pretty soon now too, which exceeded EA's expectations, which they have now fast-tracked to develop. So I've also made a video on the Jedi Fallen Order sequel if you want to watch that. So after having these two very successful franchises, a lot of fans are not surprised that Respawn, at least publicly, is saying Titanfall is going to be on the back burner for a little bit while they focus on these other projects. And that was, for the most part, where all the news was, until a few insiders started to share what they have heard about Respawn and the future of Titanfall. So all the leaks come in September of 2020, which is only a few months after Respawn denied the rumors of Titanfall 3 to IGN. And it started with a known leaker, the Neon Beast, who has a lot of insider information about Apex Legends, and he said in a now deleted tweet that, quote, "Titanfall 3 is real." Now, he went on to say in a follow-up tweet, "I'm pretty sure that leakers can say the same, because we have totally different sources. The good thing is, even with different sources, the rumor is exactly the same, and I don't believe in coincidence, not on my watch." And another Apex insider and data miner, Beist12, said, quote, "Yeah, I can confirm that part in regards to Titanfall 3 being real." Now, he deleted that tweet and then updated again on Titanfall and said, quote, "Yes, I did delete my tweet about Titanfall 3, but that was only because the tweet I quoted got deleted. But I still stand by my words, Titanfall 3 is in the works." So after all of this, fans started to get excited, knowing that, okay, maybe Respawn is having some secret development of Titanfall, and they are going to revisit the franchise sooner rather than later. This was backed up too by the CFO of EA, Blake Jorgensen, who commented on the return of Titanfall during an earnings call earlier this year. He said, quote, "Titanfall is an amazing game, and maybe you'll see some Titanfall down the road." Now, while this comment isn't anything new, it is important to show that EA still is commenting on this because there is so much public support and public questions about what the future of this franchise will look like. So just in this earnings call alone, he had to bring it up and address it that it's an amazing game and that we could see something from it down the road, and EA is supportive of that, at least publicly. Now, what makes this even more interesting is in October of 2020, so 1 month after all these leaks, In the same interview with Eurogamer I mentioned earlier about the Titanfall 3 map Olympus, the game director, Chad Grenier, said, quote, "Nobody is currently working on Titanfall 3" when asked about the rumors and if we can expect something from Respawn. So at this point, it just comes down to whether you believe the leakers, or Respawn in this case. Two separate leakers and data miners both had information that Titanfall 3 was being worked on, but Respawn has claimed throughout 2019 and 2020 that no work is being done on the project, and they've been consistent with this before and after the leaks. Now, I will say Respawn has been known for having very secretive development processes for their games. Developers and previous cast members behind Apex Legends and Fallen Order have stated the hoops Respawn had workers go through for their projects to keep it secret. So it's not completely surprising if they are working on Titanfall 3 but are doing so very secretively and don't want to announce it just yet, which usually is the best case scenario if they're trying to still figure out what this game will be and if it will work. Also, we know they still are busy supporting Apex and Star Wars, so if anything, they might have started Titanfall, but it could be so early in the process where, once again, it's not worth really investing in and announcing it to players right now. They'd rather wait for some members of their team to free up so they can all work on it, decide what to take from this previous version, what they're going to put in Apex, and then what they want to move forward with this new title with. With the next generation of consoles being released, it does make sense to start work on a new multiplayer game that can take advantage of the new hardware, which could come in the form of Titanfall 3. So let's close by discussing what fans should expect in 2021 and beyond. So I would expect more Titanfall sometime during this next generation of consoles. I would also expect this game to be completely different than the previous titles. I think Respawn has learned a lot from Apex Legends, and I think they're going to take what they learned from that franchise and really make a new modern shooter, and I think they're going to change the game in that regard again. And if this game truly is in development like the leakers would have us believe, I wouldn't expect any teasers or announcement until 2022 potentially, if not 2023 at the earliest. These games take a lot of time to make, and I would still expect them to make Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order first, which we don't even know when that's coming out. And on that timeline alone, 2022 or 2023 just for an announcement, and releases could follow after that. So for the most part, that is everything we know about Titanfall 3, but I wanted to cover the canceled Titanfall 3 that was worked on in 2017, EA acquiring the company, and the more recent leaks that potentially we could see a new Titanfall soon. Hopefully we don't have to wait too much longer for Titanfall 3 and the leaks are correct that Respawn has begun development. But either way, make sure to like and share this video, subscribe for weekly gaming news, and I will see you guys in the next one.